Good afternoon, everybody. Running a little bit late today because obviously the Champions League draw was on today, So I thought what I'd do is I'd hang around just to see what the draw was, and not a bad draw, was it really for the Arsenal? And obviously, should I say, like a guaranteed draw for Manchester City. We all knew that they was going to get Copenhagen written in the stars. Well, let's just quickly go through the draw if you don't know it or you do. First ones out were Porto's and Arsenal first out for us there. So I think that I quite enjoyed that really. We was first out, took the pressure off with that because there was some certainly big guns in there as well. So Porto versus Arsenal, Portugal. We go. I don't think that's a bad draw, to be honest with Arsenal. We're going into that in a minute there. Napoli versus Barcelona. I think that's the standout tie for me. I think that's going to be a really, really good one there. PSG versus Real Sociedad. I think PSG in the position that they were in, they'd probably take that. Inter versus Atletico Madrid. Two teams that you wouldn't want to face. So that looks a really good one there. PSV versus Dortmund. Actually, Dortmund could have got Bayern Munich, Manchester City or Real Madrid. I think they'd have took that one at the end of the day. Still a tough one for them, but, you know, if you come second, you're going to get a difficult one. Lazio versus Bayern Munich, Copenhagen versus Manchester City, and RB Leipzig versus Real Madrid. That is the draw for the Champions League. And I don't care what anybody says about the Champions League. Once you start getting draws and knockout stages, it is so much better than all this league stuff and everything like that. I think now the Champions League, Europa League and everything goes really up and does well. I think the Europa League draw is taking place today as well, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken. Let's try and see if nothing coming through at this moment in time, so I'm not too sure. But you know, the Champions League is done and dusted now until February. We can move on from there. Like from an Arsenal point of view, I have to say I didn't really want to go to Italy. Not the nicest places to go to. Portugal, very, very nice. I don't really know what it's going to be like in February weather-wise, but I think at the end of the day, I think realistically, Copenhagen probably the best draw for most teams, but I think Porto are in a bad draw. I've got to say that, like, you know, it's not going to be easy. No game's going to be easy in that champion. I look at that draw. There's no easy games in there apart from Copenhagen versus Man City. They'll probably get that done in the first leg. But other than that, I think you're going to expect a tough game. But I think it's doable. I think that from myself personally, I think I would have took Copenhagen at first and then Porto second. I'll be really honest. So I don't think it's such a bad draw for Arsenal, and we can now look forward to that in February and move on now. Let's be honest. Weekend. Let's talk about the weekend. Be really honest. Did any Arsenal fan, me included, think that we would be top of the league? Come today, I didn't think that we would be. I felt that we was going to beat Brighton, but I did predict a 2-0 win. I did think it'd be a very, very tough game, which it turned out to be. But I watched the game back now, and I'm going to be really honest. If Arsenal would have won that 4 or 5-0, I don't think anybody would have complained, or 5-1, because they had a very, very good chance as well. But I thought we played really, really well, apart from the final third where we missed a few chances and decision making wasn't quite right, but we opened up a team that was that's a pretty tough nut to crack on numerous occasions, and it was a very, very good performance, professional performance. I thought it was a solid defensive performance. You know, last season we looked a little bit more vulnerable at the back. I have to agree with that. And it's got nothing to do with the goalkeeper. It's the way that we're set up with the defence is a little bit more sound. Saliba yesterday and Gabriel were magnificent. Saliba gets all the praise, and quite rightly so, you know, and all the headlines and everything like that. But Gabriel, again, yesterday was a monster. You wouldn't want to play up against him. I thought he was fantastic, and I thought we defended really, really well. And Declan Rice, well, my God, he just keeps getting better and better. We was actually saying, you know, he wasn't really like man of the match performance in the first half. He was just doing his job, but in the second half he just went up another level. It was absolutely incredible, like, you know. And I thought it was a really, really good performance. And yes, you can look at a few things and can be critical of this and that, but at the end of the day, it's about winning the game and and getting the result. And I don't care about what anybody says. I actually just want Kai Havertz to score every game. I just love the song, but also he's starting to prove people wrong. And I thought he was brilliant yesterday again. Like, not up there as a man of the match, but he influences the games with tackles and all that. Like, and his headers, and he should have scored with his head. But other than that, I thought he was really, really good. And Gabriel Jesus, well, some of the, I'd say, you can criticise him at times about his goal scoring, whatever, like. But what a player he is to watch. Just to watch him play, some of his turns and tricks and hold up play, and I think he's fantastic footballer. I really, really do enjoy watching him play. And I think he had one chance yesterday. I don't think he really had many chances, if I remember rightly. The one that he had, he took. So I thought that was a very, very good performance from Arsenal. It puts us in a good position going into the game against Liverpool next Saturday, 5:30 kickoff. I think that I was thinking that we'd probably be a point behind them going into that game now. But if we can get something from that, it really does put us in a really, really good position. And I watched the Man United Liverpool game with interest, really, at Anfield. And a few people saying afterwards, if Liverpool play like that, then Arsenal will win. But will they play like that? I don't think they will. I think that Liverpool were poor on the day, if I'll be honest. They didn't really play as well as what they can do. But if I'll be really honest and be brutal, as I say, I was watching a bit of it in the pub, and then I watched the highlights and all that. Like, they had a lot of chances, Liverpool. I opened up Man United on a few occasions there, and I think on another day, another day, they probably would have won 3 or 4-0. So I when people turn around and say, "Oh, that won't be the Liverpool that turns up next week," I actually felt that Liverpool were very, very much the dominant side and all that, and a little bit like us, didn't take their chances. We're not as clinical, and let's hope that they can be a little bit like that next week, and we can be our clinical best. And I think that was a good result for us in particular. Like, both teams drop points. I don't really ever want to see Man United win, but I think at the end of the day, Man United, you can still. How can I say this? I wouldn't write them off at this moment in time. So I'm the more points they drop, the better. So them dropping 2 points was good. And of course, Liverpool were expected to win that game and didn't. So it puts a little bit of pressure going on to them. And the one thing about Liverpool now is they've got another game on Wednesday, of course, in the League Cup against West Ham, of course, that beat us. So we could have actually been going to Liverpool on a Wednesday night and then on a Saturday as well, like. So is it a good thing or a bad thing that we're out of that cup? I'm not so sure. I like to be in the competitions all the time, but we've got Liverpool, of course. If that would have been the case, we'd have played Liverpool on Wednesday, Liverpool Saturday, then Liverpool in the FA Cup, and then of course these fixtures come back out in February as well, like. So I think would have been sick to death of Liverpool by then. So listen, it's going to be a really, really tough game. But I think Manchester United will look at that and say it's a very, very good point. And Tin Hag, as I call him, like, keeps his job for another couple of weeks. So that ain't a bad thing. I think Manchester United say defended well. There was a bit bitterness about their game that I quite liked. They stuck to their job. They've got players missing, of course, so you would look at it and think that that was a good performance from them, and they'd be quite pleased with taking the point. It'll be really interesting now to see what happens with Liverpool and the team selection on Wednesday before they play us on the Saturday. So I think it's worked out well for us. We've got a nice week off. They play Wednesday. I think Liverpool probably would have said they'd prefer to have played Tuesday and then had the extra day off. So they got Wednesday and then they got a day, recovery time. Then they can train on the Friday to prepare for us. So listen, I think that, it comes at a good time for us. And just before Christmas, it'll be fantastic if we can get that win against Liverpool. I'm going to say it now. I think if we do go up there and beat Liverpool, I do think that we're going to be really come close to winning this league. I think that I watching all the teams at the moment. Obviously, Manchester City are not the best at the moment, as we'll talk about in a second. But I do think watching all the teams at this moment in time, I think that Arsenal are the best. Even like yesterday, like Brighton's two wide players have caused a lot of problems and did win. It was 1-0, but they were more concentrating and more worried about defending Saka and Martinelli. And I don't see that with other teams. So I do think teams are a little bit more wary of us this season, and we certainly with the firepower and everything like that, but defensively working well. I think it's going to be a fantastic game next week, I have to say. I'm really, really looking forward to it. If we can get that result, I do think we've got a great chance, and go from there. I come out of the stadium thinking that yesterday, knowing that Villa were losing 1-0 at Brentford, I thought, well, let's hold on and get the draw. Listen, Villa got the win, great win at Brentford, but realistically, I think, if I'll be honest, I don't think they would have got that win if they didn't go down to 10 men. They were struggling a little bit. I do feel that Villa have got to be taken seriously at this moment in time because they're winning games of football. They win every single time they play at home. So, and they could actually go into the weekend because they play Friday against Sheffield United at home. They could actually get, when we go to Anfield, Aston Villa could be top and probably will be top. So I do think that we will be second going into that game against Liverpool, and if the result don't go our way against Liverpool, we can actually be in third going into Christmas, which would be really a hard one to take because we're playing quite well, like, you know what I mean. I think from Villa's point of view, they'd be very, very pleased with it all there. But I'm going to say this now. I wouldn't be surprised if something happens at Villa. Because all of a sudden expectation, pressure starts to build. They're expected to beat Sheffield United now, where I don't think they'll be going quite under the radar as much, especially when you're top of the league, as we found out last season. No one goes under the radar when you're top. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But still a very, very good win. Some funny scenes in that game as well, but listen, genuinely, you've got to start thinking that Villa are in with a shout. And I think at this stage, it's a good thing that you've got 3 or 4 teams involved. By this time last season, it was just Arsenal and Manchester City going at it. A couple more teams still in at the moment. So there's points being taken off of each other and things like that. And pressure on teams in and around us where there wasn't last season, like we'd go to Villa when the pressure was on us. We go to Liverpool, the pressure was on us. When we go to these teams now and teams come to us, the pressure is just as much on each other. So I don't think it's a bad thing that there's a few more teams involved in the title race. Well, of course, Manchester City. Well, what can you say about that? I was playing football Saturday, like for my team. They were 2-0 up, and we just said, and Crystal come on the telly, Crystal Palace and score. We said, it wouldn't be funny if Crystal Palace get a last minute goal, we was all like, having a laugh about it, tongue in cheek, really more than anything. And my God, it happened, and deservedly so. And this is what happens with certain teams. A little bit like Brighton yesterday as well. Once the handbrake's off, and you're a couple of goals down, you just think, oh well, we game plan out the window. Let's go for it and see what happens. And that's what happened. Crystal Palace went for it, and Manchester City crumbled under it, if I'll be really honest. And it's not the first time. They got in front against Tottenham a couple of weeks ago, and you think, oh well, that's it now. That's the end of it. And they ended up letting that one slip, and now they've let this one slip as well. And this one more of a shocker than the Tottenham one and the Liverpool one as well, really, because they're 2-0 up in this game, and if I'm being really honest, cruising to victory. So it's a real interesting one from that point of view, to see what happens there, but yeah, Ronnie there saying Liverpool won't play 2 bad home games in a row. You will get beat. Well, we'll see about that, Ronnie, because Manchester City have played 3 now home games on the spin and not one. So that'd be an interesting. I've not seen, Manchester City last season, by the way, they just never looked like dropping a point, didn't they? Like, all of a sudden they are dropping. As I said, 3 home games on the spin now that they've not won. And from winning positions, beating Spurs, I don't say comfortably in that game, but I think once they got in front, you thought that they was going to win that. Spurs pegged them back. Liverpool, I felt that they dominated Liverpool to a certain degree, and then Liverpool can't come back into it and nicked a point. And as I say about the Crystal Palace one, I think that Man City would be glad to be getting on this summer little break and having a little break now and see what happens from there. But listen, at this moment in time, I'm going to say it now, I would still put a lot of money on Manchester City still being favourites, and I still think that they're the team to beat at this moment in time. It'll be really interesting there. Of course, on Friday night, the weekend started off poorly for us Arsenal fans with Nottingham Forest against Tottenham. Spurs bounced back. I've got to say that, after that surprising defeat to their rivals West Ham, I felt that they was in a little bit of trouble then, just because they had a difficult game against Newcastle to go through, because you know what you're going to get with Newcastle, and then of course Forest, and I thought Forest put up a game of it, but realistically never really had the firepower to beat Spurs. And once Spurs got in front, I thought that was it. But 2 good results for Spurs, good couple of bounce backs from them, at the end of the day, and so. I think that you have to give Spurs credit, and all of a sudden, Richarlison looking like I thought took his goal well, done well, and Spurs got their players to come back. So a good performance from them. But I'm going to tell you this now, and I don't mind clipping me of this. I think that Spurs could struggle against Everton, because Everton are a real well-organised team that are not going to give up a lot of chances, and I think that with Tottenham, and I do say this, and I don't mean this horribly against them and all that, that they are still very, very open at the back. Forest were getting in on a few occasions, and a better team probably will do. And I don't see Spurs changing. I really don't. I don't think that they're going to change that sort of style of football. I think they're going to go for it. And it'll be really interesting to see what happens in that game there. So Everton are in form, and another good win for them against Burnley. So I actually liking what Sean Dyche is doing at the moment at Everton. And really, since that point deduction, I thought we all know it's a little bit harsh and that, but what a response from them, and I'm pretty sure they've got a game in with, I can't remember who they're playing on in the League Cup. That's bad. Let's have a quick look at that. I know that they've got a League Cup tie on I think Tuesday, that they play on Tuesday. Let's have a quick look. Got Fulham at home on Tuesday in the League Cup. So that'd be an interesting game. They've got the extra day off so that they can concentrate on that before taking on Spurs. So I think that that'd be an interesting game on the weekend there. But Everton, for me, done fantastically well at this moment in time. And a big up to Sean Dyche. I think doesn't get the credit that he deserves. And so well played to him. Just going to touch on the horrendous thing with Bournemouth and Luton, and Lockyer going down again. That's the second time now that's happened to him. Obviously it happened in the playoff final, if you remember, and it's happened again to him. Best wishes to him and his family. Unfortunately, I think that's the last time he's going to be able to play professional football now. After that incident, and the game was abandoned 1-1, and quite rightly so. It's just horrible when you see things like that happen, and so just wish him all the best, and for whatever he does after this. and just good luck. And I hope he's makes a full recovery. Which, by the way, what I'm hearing all the news at the moment, that he's in a good place and everything like that. Of course. Chelsea, they won 2-0. Let's talk a little bit about Chelsea. Pochettino. Just when you think Chelsea are starting to get things going, they sort of slip back again. But that was a good performance from them, and you just don't know what you're going to get with Chelsea at this moment in time. So we'll wait and see what happens there. But I think Chelsea, I think are going to start doing a few things in the next January and all that, because Pochettino is a good manager, and let's hope that he can do well, because I think at the end of the day he's probably been Spurs' best manager in the Premier League era, if I'll be honest. And I think he'll turn Chelsea around. I don't know if I like that idea of it, but I think that may happen. Newcastle bounced back after a couple of poor performances from them, and they're going out of the Champions League in midweek with the most bizarre sending off I think I've ever seen. Has anybody ever seen a sending off like that? I haven't in all my life. I don't really know if it was a sending off or not. It probably was, but it was a strange one. But changed the game, and Newcastle going on and winning that 3-0. Still, like Newcastle at this moment in time, I don't really know if they're in a good place or in a bad place at this moment in time. I think they needed that win and they got it, and it's quite comfortable in the end as we go through there. Just like the one game that we've not mentioned is West Ham versus Wolves 3-0. I was a bit surprised by that Wolves were a little bit off from West Ham, and getting the result, and 3-0. And a couple of West Ham fans I know will be very, very pleased about that. So let's just have a quick look at the league table before we round off today's midweek weekend show. That Arsenal top of the league, played 17, 39 points, followed by Liverpool on 38 points, Villa on 38 points, then Manchester City on 34, then in fifth place Spurs on 33, Newcastle on 29, Manchester United on 28, and West Ham in eighth at this moment in time, gone up a couple of places on 27, Brighton in ninth on 26, and Chelsea, big gap between the rest of them there, in 10th on 22. So Chelsea at this moment really, really off the pace there. Listen, that's top 5, top 6. I'm going to include Newcastle and Manchester United. So they're going to the top 7. If results go the way of things and that, it can be really tight at the top there. So no one is in a position at this moment of time where they can say that they're safe for a top 5. I think that I'm going to say it now. Looking at that table, could you include West Ham? Shall we include West Ham that could get into the top 5, top 6? It's looking like, because of, by the way, poor performances from Manchester United and Newcastle in the Champions League, that it might be only 4 places again this season. If it is so, say if it is 4, I'm going to put West Ham and Brighton in that chase at the moment, because they're only 7 points off the top, which is Manchester City. It's a tough ask, but so we'll see. I think it'll open itself up at Christmas time. See what happens there. Some really good games to look forward to. Let's just quickly run through the games for next week. Friday, as I said, was Villa versus Sheffield United. Then on the Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoffs. Oh no, West Ham versus Man United, 12:30 kickoff. That'd be an interesting game. Oh, that'd be a good game. Fulham versus Burnley. Luton versus Newcastle. Manchester City versus Brentford, of course, is called off because they're in the World Club Championships. Forest versus Bournemouth. Spurs versus Everton. And Liverpool versus Arsenal. Games to look out for. I'm gonna say I think that if I be really honest, I think Liverpool, Arsenal, I think maybe a draw. I'm going to say like my surprise result is I think Everton might get something at Spurs in there. My certainty is Villa to beat Sheffield United. Listen, thanks for listening, guys. Hope you have a great day. Enjoy the rest of the week. If your team's involved in the League Cup in the week, good luck to all of those teams. For me, I've got no preference to win those games. Everton versus Fulham, Port Vale versus Borough, Chelsea versus Newcastle is on the Tuesday, and of course Liverpool versus West Ham on the Wednesday. All quite good cup ties, to be honest there. Like, and of course Port Vale or Borough will see themselves in a semi-final. And if you are Everton, Chelsea, Newcastle, I'm going to put you on. I think that Chelsea, if they can win this one, it's a poor season of Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea can find themselves in the semi-final and then get Port Vale, Middlesbrough in the semi-final. You know, Pochettino could be at Wembley, and Chelsea would be looking in a different way. You know, Everton as well, also not been at Wembley for a while, and not won a trophy since 1995, I believe. So that would be a good thing if they can get past Fulham. Fulham are in good form, by the way, so I wouldn't write out Fulham, but I think that the way Everton are playing at the moment, they could get through there, and because then get to the semi-final, void Liverpool, you know, can get there. And can West Ham actually do Liverpool at Liverpool? Like, you know, Liverpool will be favourites because there won't be a very, very good game that as well. And we'll have to wait and see. Let's hope that West Ham go up there and give them a good old kick a few of their players for us. That'd be lovely. Anyway, have a lovely day, guys. Have a good week. I'll see you next time. Don't forget, we're back. I know we've got the North London podcast on a Thursday, and me and Dan are trying to fit something in between that, maybe a question and answer thing at some sort of stage. But listen, enjoy the rest of your day. Don't forget, we're off to Portugal. Some teams are not in Europe.